Okay, welcome back in. I'm going to continue this 32 and 32 series until I get down to the top two teams, or until I get to the top teams, or the two teams, I should say, that are in this year's Super Bowl. So unfortunately, it will not be the Buffalo Bills. They had a very tough loss last night in Kansas City, but I'll review that here in just a brief second. So the Bills would win the AFC East for the fifth straight year. They would finish second in the AFC overall with a 13-4 record. So we'll take a look at their team schedule. So they would start the season off pretty hot, winning their first three games against the Cardinals, the Dolphins, and the Jaguars, respectively, before going on a two-game losing streak, losing in Baltimore and in Houston. They would finally get their ish together, going on a six-game winning streak, defeating the Jets, the Titans, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Colts, and the Chiefs at home before their Week 12 bye week. After the bye week, they would defeat the 49ers before losing in Los Angeles in what was a barn burner. I didn't think the score was going to be 44-22. It was a high-scoring affair, to say the least. After their loss in LA, they would go to defeat Detroit, play against the Patriots and the Jets, winning all three of those games before losing a meaningless game to the Patriots in week number 18, where I think Allen may have started, but he definitely didn't finish the game. Again, it didn't matter if they won or lost. They already secured the number two spot in the AFC at that point. So because they finished as the number two seed, they would take on the number seven seed, which would be the Denver Broncos, winning that game fairly easily, 31-7. The divisional matchup, they would play against the Baltimore Ravens, winning that one narrowly, 27-25, before playing, like I said, last night's championship game and falling 3 points shy of a tie against the Chiefs, losing 32-29. All right, so we'll take a look at the team's stats. There you can see the standings. First in the AFC East, again, no surprise there. So overall, they would finish ninth in the league in passing with 3,875 yards. They would finish 17th in receiving yards with 3,938. First downs, they would finish 16th in the league with 93. Rushing yards, they would finish 9th in the league with 2,230. And points, they would finish second in the league, just behind the Lions, with 525 points. On defense, for sacks, they were 18th in the league. They had 39 on the season. Interceptions, they were 5th in the league with 16. Forced fumbles, they were 3rd in the league with 18. And tackles, they were 6th in the league with 680. So a pretty decent defense overall. And their special teams, they would finish 26th in the league in field goals made. Field goal percentage, they would finish 22nd in the league. So unfortunately, they would miss a few field goals throughout the season, finishing with an 82.8 percentage in that category. Extra points made, they were 3rd in the league with 59 extra points made. And their extra point percentage, they would finish 27th in the league, 92.2. So unfortunately, they would miss a few PATs. So now we'll take a look at the players' stats. Josh Allen, guaranteed to be the league MVP, would finish with 3,731 passing yards, a 63.56 completion percentage, and his touchdown to interception ratio was basically 4-1. 28 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Khalil Shakir would lead the team in receiving yards with 821 on 76 grabs and 4 touchdowns. Keon Coleman, the wide receiver, would finish with 556 receiving yards, 20 on 29 catches, and 4 touchdowns. James Cook, a fantastic running back for this team, would finish with over 1,000 yards on 207 attempts and 16 touchdowns. It's basically like a touchdown a game. And Josh Allen would finish right behind him in rushing yards, 531 on 102 attempts and 12 rushing touchdowns. Now, granted, a lot of those are probably like tush-push touchdowns, but still, a touchdown is a touchdown. On defense, Greg Rosenthal would have a very decent year, finishing the season with 8 sacks, 36 tackles, and 3 forced fumbles. Dorian Williams would finish the season with 65 tackles and 1 forced fumble. And Damar Hamlin, what an unbelievable comeback story it is for him. Would finish with 2 picks, 61 tackles, and 5 pass deflections. I guess he came back again last year, but still, just remarkable. He basically came back from the dead. Tyler Bass would have finished the season 24 field goals made on 29 attempts and 82.76 field goal percentage. And Sam Martin, the punter, would finish with 54 punts, 2,523 yards, and average just over 46 yards a kick. So again, the Bills are in the same situation as the Ravens. So if you haven't watched the Ravens one, just watch this. And this is pretty much going to be like a copy paste of what I talked about with them. They're good enough to win their division. They're good enough to make the playoffs. They still should be competitive again next year. But again, the big question is, can they beat the Chiefs? You either have to go to KC or they have to come to you, and you have to win that game no matter what. But the Chiefs have had the Bills' numbers in the postseason. This is now their 4th meeting in the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes era. And unfortunately for the Bills, they have not come away with a victory. And honestly, let's be realistic. Last year was their best chance because they were finally at home, ahead of the Chiefs in the standings. They had home field advantage, but unfortunately, they still lost the game. So you can't make the excuse, well, if they played in our home barn, we could win. They've been down there, they've done that, but unfortunately, the Bills still weren't able to win. So it doesn't matter if you're in Buffalo or in Kansas City, you have to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So I really wish there was more to talk about because they're such a good team. And I've said this in a lot of videos that Josh Allen will be the league MVP and James Cook is an unbelievable running back. He can average over 100 yards a carry. And the weapons that he has, Shakir and will they be able to sign Amari Cooper? I think that's going to be a big decision for the offseason. I think he was on an expiring contract with the Cleveland Browns, if I'm not mistaken. So can he come back? Can he be as good or legitimate as he was in his tenure with the Bills after the trade? Again, it's up to management if they bring him back or not. That's the only question mark I would have going forward is who is going to be like their number 1, number 2, number 3 guy if they aren't able to re-sign him. Maybe they get in the draft. Maybe they go through free agency. Maybe who knows? Maybe somebody just takes a step up. There's been a lot of, I don't want to say nobodies in organizations that kind of came out of nowhere and turned out to be great players at whatever position that they played. So maybe they go that route if they're not able to re-sign Cooper. But again, we'll see what the offseason brings. But again, for the Buffalo Bills, can you say it's a successful season? I'd say no. It's every year is Super Bowl or bust for this team. It's no longer, well, if they just make it to the playoffs, we'll give them a pat on the back. They're guaranteed to make the playoffs year in and year out with Josh Allen at the helm. But the question is, can he finally lead his team to a Super Bowl? And in the 5 years that they've won the AFC East, he's been to 2 championship games, both against the Chiefs, and both were losses. So I wouldn't say, I mean, it'd be unsuccessful if you didn't make the playoffs. I'll put it that way. That's the only thing I would say. Other than that, it's Super Bowl or bust for the Bills. So I'll end the video at that. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative as well. Until next time, and as always, take care.